Poducer.
Hello, fans of Poducer. This is our 100th episode, so we're switching it up. Seated in the host chair is myself, Ryan Mara, longtime producer, and seated in the guest chair, we have Just Jerry.
Yeah, what's good? I'm wondering if I'm going to do Just Jerry or Just Jerry, like no just, for the name of the... Anyway, hello.
Welcome, Jerry. How do you feel seated in the guest couch?
Pretty good. It's a little different. I mean, I sit over here sometimes to watch TV, but like, it is different. And I was also thinking like, this is the other side of my face. And I feel like, you know, we each look different slightly on each side of our face. My face isn't like perfectly symmetrical, so I'm like, am I going to look weird? But I'm overthinking things, so.
No, I think the audience are going to be shocked. They're going to wonder, who is this man?
Who the fuck? Yeah.
So I wanted to get us started with our classic first question, the icebreaker that everyone knows. And I'm sure that people are also familiar with what the answer to the question is. So
yeah, if you're a long-time listener, you should know what my first concert is. What the fuck is it? No, I'm just...
Well, for those that are new to the show, tell us, what was it?
All right, yeah, my first concert was The Fray, and it was at Northerly Island. And it was, I don't remember how old I was, but I was probably in like 6th grade or something. I think that's around when The Fray was happening. My mom liked The Fray, and like, you know, on like MTV and like VH1, they would play music in the morning. Like, that's what I'd listen to before I go to school, and like somehow me and my mom bonded over listening to The Fray. So yeah, we ended up going, and it was like OK Go and this other band May, M-A-E, that opened for them. And yeah, it was good. My first concert, I always say too that my first concert was supposed to be Fall Out Boy, and that would have been just like, yes, like it makes sense. The OCD of my brain would have been happy with that, but like I can't change it, and I feel like that's just like a thing I can never change, and that's okay, and that's like a lesson in itself.
And I think as a branding exercise, if you were to just say OK Go, I think it might be 10 times cooler.
Is OK Go cooler than The Fray? I mean, How to Save a Life is it's a good song, but anyway, I'm not a huge Fray fan. Like, I don't listen to The Fray now, but
yeah, you're not bumping it on your workout mix.
No.
Yeah, gotcha. So I was thinking, since everyone knew that story, right? That's classic Poducer lore. I was wondering a little fun way to spin it might be, what was your first podcast?
Yeah, wait, so also are we doing first podcast I listened to or first podcast that I did?
So that's something that I feel like every guest also asks. They go, wait, are we talking about the first one that I did or the first one that I went to? So I'm going to let you take this however you want it.
All right, we can do both. I think my first podcast was probably Joe Rogan. Like, I have a dog walking business, and I spend a lot of time outside just like walking around, so podcasts are great for that, for killing time. Yeah, I've been listening to Joe for a long ass time. A lot of people don't like him for some reason, and I get it. He says a lot of the same things. Just like anyone who has a podcast, I feel like they probably repeat themselves a lot, and it's like, okay, like talking about like hunting elk and like all the things that Joe likes. It's like, if you hear that too many times, you're like, oh my God, whatever. But he gets the best guests, and I think he is very like open and honest. And I think he asks good questions. He's not the perfect host. Yeah, like, sure. No podcast host is probably gonna be perfect, but yeah, I think he's got a great show. That was probably my first podcast, and then like, I don't know, what did I start listening to after that? I don't really like the podcast where it's like too formulaic, like it's too edited to. It's not really like a podcast at that point. It's kind of, I like conversational podcasts, not like these edited episodes where they're like a presentation.
And that makes sense, because that's how you structure your podcast too, if I can say the word now that I'm the host.
Yeah, how do you feel being the host? Is it weird?
It's really strange. I've always seen the chair, but I've seen it from a different vantage
Does
point.
the chair have a little bit of like a allure to it? Like it's like the chair.
Yeah, I might call it the throne, dude.
The throne,
Yeah,
dude.
this is kind of a throne.
We got to get like a thing that goes behind it. It looks like a throne. Yeah, the chair. But yeah, so like the first podcast that I did was with shout out Palpa. I call him Kale. That's his actual name. And as you know, I used to live in this house that was a coach house. And we just had this table that I got like off Craigslist for free. It's like this big ass glass table. And I invited Kale over because my roommate Pete knew him. And he was like, oh yeah, he makes music. I was like, cool. We should do a podcast. Like, and literally didn't even know Kale. He showed up with like his homie. We didn't record video or anything. It was just audio. I had like 2 mics at the time, or they were the only 2 mics that I had, an SM58 and like it's called an MXL 100 or something like that. It's like a Chinese condenser mic, which
Bet it sounded great.
it did sound good. I'm like out of breath. Normally I like, don't do as much talking.
Yeah.
So it's funny. But yeah, I mean, condenser mics sound great. These are dynamic mics and you can just like fucking yell into them and they can absorb a lot of sound. But the condenser mics are really crispy, and actually that condenser mic sounded good. Like when I would talk on that mic, I was like, oh, this sounds good. But anyway, I set up, I think I had mic stands, like the ones that I have right now. I think I had 2 of those, or I bought them for that one, and we just sat across the table from each other and recorded it. And then like immediately after we recorded, I just put it up.
Nice.
No editing at all. And it was kind of iconic in that sense that there was just no editing. Like I strive to do as little editing as possible. Like if you can just do it all live, that's great. But yeah, that was the first one. And I haven't listened to that in so long. We had a different logo. It was like a microphone, like an old school like metal grill microphone that you kind of see like Elvis doing. Like Pete, my roommate, made it, and it was like Poducer in this font, and like the microphone was the P. Yeah. That was the first one.
When was the last time you re-listened to it? And when you did, how did you feel?
Dude, I have not listened to it in a while. I mean, it's up there. They're all up there. But like, yeah, I need to go back and check it out. We listened to music on the podcast. That was like one of the things from the very start. And there was like a period of time lately where I wasn't doing music, but it's coming back. Some guests just like don't necessarily want to do music, or we just don't plan it out beforehand. But yeah, I just remember like listening to Kale's music and being like, dude, you're fucking nuts. This is crazy. Like, he's so talented. Go check out Palpa, because he's literally a guru and he makes amazing visuals too. That's what he's mainly doing right now.
Word. So real government name Kale, stage name Palpa.
Stage name Palpa.
Makes sense. I might just rock with Kale if I was him, but I could understand.
Did you ever meet Kale?
I don't think so.
You have a minute? Okay.
Yeah.
I've known Ryan since like high school, by the way.
Oh yeah. Way
also,
back.
Got my disco cup. Drinking a high noon in here.
Tell them about how we opened the high noon.
Dude, the high noon just didn't open correct. So then we had to put it in a cup.
Yeah, the cup looks good though.
Cup looks good, yeah.
Rock with the cup.
Gotta get the cup in the scene. Hold on. Okay, yeah.
Nice, dude. And then when you started on the podcast, like early on, what did you figure out wasn't working, and what did you figure out was working from the jump?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know, man. Podcasting is like pretty easy. I feel like the most important thing is just to be a good listener, like if you're the host, and to just like kind of guide the conversation. But I don't know. I feel like it worked from the start, and that's kind of why I like came back to doing it. I took a period of time off from doing it, and I came back and like we did the video, and I wanted to just not do video because I like the theater of the mind and like listening to stuff and not having that extra stimulus, because like, you know, the most important sense that we have is our vision, in the sense of like getting around the world and navigating it. And I feel like sometimes it's distracting. Like sometimes people put on like a music video for a song and it's like another thing that I have to pay attention to, and it like takes away from the song. So I don't know. I like the video is good. I like the video now because it opened the door to a lot of new things, like doing live streams and clips. Obviously that's like the main game plan for like getting new listeners and stuff. But I don't know. For a while there, I was doing Skype interviews, and I would literally just hit people up on SoundCloud and be like, yo, you want to like talk about music? And they'd be like, yeah, that sounds cool. So I'd like found a way to route it that I could like play music and we could talk and I could record it. And like those, I like doing them in person because there's latency, and like the latency just, you don't get as good of conversations when there's latency.
Yeah.
So that is one thing that I learned, is that doing it live in the flesh is always the best.
Amen. And the Skype interview makes it sound so antiquated. It sounds like you're using ancient technology here.
Yeah, I used to have I actually just put it back on my computer. We could listen to it. It's like maybe I'll just like splice it in here. But it's a song, I called it like Skype Song from Mars or something. And it was just like a remix of the like Skype ringtone. And I would use that to intro the podcast.
Hell yeah.
And it kind of goes like, we might have to put it in here.
Yeah, let's run that one later.
Yeah. Okay.
Love it. And so something else that kind of getting to this idea of the evolution of the podcast, Taylor Swift, she's wrapping up her Eras tour. What are the eras of the Poducer podcast?
The eras? What even is the Eras tour for her?
Yeah, so the idea is that she's gone through eras. She's been in the limelight since she was 16 years old, and she's had like a country era and then like a disco ball era, all this other stuff.
Whatever, yeah. Era.
Yeah.
So that's what's going on with her. Well, I don't think I would liken myself to Taylor Swift. I mean, yo, if we could like make some money, that'd be cool.
Yeah, dude, aim for the stars, man. Like,
dude, if we can make like a couple dollars, that'd be sick. Yeah, eras, I would say, is like the first recordings were like the one with Kale in my bedroom. We moved from the upstairs down to my bedroom because people would like walk upstairs and I'd just be like pissed. I'd be like, because our floors were creaky too, and it's just like, and I'd be like, dude, go downstairs. Because I lived in a house with like 4 other dudes. So like maybe upstairs was an era, and then to the bedroom, and then like the Skype sessions, and then it would probably like the next thing after that would be, excuse me, like recording with video.
That makes sense. And something else that I was thinking about is a lot goes into every episode behind the scenes. All of the audience, they see the podcast and they go, yeah, that was cool. But what happens behind the scenes to make sure that every episode happens?
This is actually, I'm glad that you brought this up because I'm fucking killing myself over here. I'm dying. Like every week I'm just like, okay, fuck, I gotta figure this out. I have it pretty like mechanized in the sense that I have found a flow and I like know each step that I have to do. But basically, like, we record, I have a system, I record straight into my computer, and I just go through. After that, I probably like wait a little bit. Also, there's like podcasts in the chamber, as I say, that like, they're loaded but they're not ready to go yet. And basically I just like edit them. How I do it is I will listen to the podcast straight through, double time speed, and just like it's like I can't even understand them sometimes, and just like chop up stuff, highlight portions that I think would be a good clip, add the intro, add the ads, bounce that out. That sometimes takes a while, and then upload it to YouTube, and then take that, make an audio version of that, upload that to SoundCloud. From SoundCloud, that gets syndicated to like all of the podcast platforms. And you can listen on SoundCloud, which I feel like for the beat makers is like, yo, respect. Although if SoundCloud goes down, I'm just gonna be like, there go all my episodes. Although I do have backups, but not the old ones. I should probably like download them now.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then from there, like I'll make clips and kind of just be like, yo, like the person that we do the interview with, like, yo, like podcast is gonna come out Wednesday. I'll try to tell them like a week in advance, because like people have release schedules. Especially if they're like a bigger artist, I'm trying to be like a little bit more on top of it. I don't try to like play favorites, but like it's just the reality of it a little bit. And then I'll make like the art, which I just make in like a Photoshop program, and I just like change the color. And like, you know what's actually funny is like getting the still image of someone's face.
Oh yeah.
I'll like go through it like and just like go scene to scene, and like it's like hard sometimes to get a good picture of someone's face, because sometimes they're like laughing and you're like, oh, that would be perfect, but then their face is like, sometimes people ugly laugh.
Oh yeah.
Or it's not even that they're ugly, it's just that like a single still frame of that is not a great look. So you got to find this like perfect image that's like both like them looking cool but then also happy. I normally go for like a happy but also cool image. And yeah, I don't know, sometimes people are like, yo, like we got to find a different one for that. I'm like, fuck. But I'll spend like maybe like 20 minutes sometimes, just like, or like 15 minutes or something.
Yeah, I love the level of care that you put into something as simple as the thumbnail.
I just don't want people to look stupid. Like this whole thing is a spotlight, and I want people to like put their best foot forward.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't want to be presenting people in a bad light.
Yeah, you do someone dirty, they've got like a sweat drop hanging from their forehead.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
I mean, if they're sweaty, we can't really do anything about that, but...
Yeah, there's not a Photoshop correct for de-sweatify.
Yeah.
Yet.
I mean, yeah, that's true. I feel like there will be. There's way too much stuff you can do. Like, you can fix so much stuff. But yeah, I feel like we're getting into the weeds, and maybe this isn't that interesting to people, but like, I definitely spend a lot of time just making sure that everything looks good. And I think for me, the biggest thing, because it's a weekly podcast, is like having a template, and every time I can just go back to that and it looks good. So like I've gone through a bunch of different rounds of like templates that I like, and I feel like now I'm at a place where the like art, album art, podcast art, like you can vary it, but it's also like the same, and it's also easy for me to make every week pretty much. So yeah, it's kind of where I'm at. I try not to change stuff too much, because there's this like, if you change it too much, then people are like, wait, what is this? Is this a different thing? There's like a lot of psychology that I think about in terms of not changing too much, but then also continuing to upgrade stuff.
Yeah, it's like the Campbell's soup. Like if they change Campbell's soup and rebrand it, I wouldn't be hyped on it. I'd be like, this is what we expect, and I want it this way.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah, and kind of another jumping off point based upon that is that I've noticed that there are a series of kind of trends and hallmarks of the podcast. So I've created a Poducer podcast bingo, and I'm trying to develop the center square. So couple options.
Wait, what's the center square? It's just like
it's like the free one, where you know every episode something's going to be happening in that center square. So one of them is Jerry has his dogs out.
Dude, the dogs, like as in my feet?
Yeah, your feet.
The dogs out actually works in a sense, because like most of the time I will have a dog here.
Yes.
Not most of the time. Like 50% of the time there will be a dog just like walking around, and they're not my dogs. They're my clients' dogs. And one time I took a picture right here with a dog and sent it to one of my clients, and like, do you have a podcast? Because like the microphone was in there. I was like, yeah. I was like, I don't really... I wouldn't mind sharing it. It's just like, I don't know. I like to keep things separate.
Yeah, weird flex.
Yeah, weird flex. Yeah. So the dog's out. Yeah.
Yeah. Another option was dogs are in the house. Frequently, there's a dog as an added guest.
yeah, that happens. Yeah, for sure.
Another one, cold beers in the fridge.
Yeah, and a lot of times they're like not cold. I'm like, dude, you want this like warm beer? I forgot to put it in the fridge.
That's true. It should be lukewarm beer is in the fridge.
Yeah. I mean, I try to put them in the fridge, but sometimes it just doesn't happen.
Or there's a bowl of trail mix within reach.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's right over there.
Yeah, it's always
There's
there.
a little bit of trail mix in it. Let's see. This is a really like sad bowl of trail mix, but there's a couple nuts in there. But yeah, I go to Costco and get some trail mix just because like also eating on the pod, it's like not acceptable.
No.
Also beer on the pod, I kind of steer away from that too because people get real burpy.
Fair point. Yeah, we got to go with no carbonation liquor from now on. What's next for the podcast? We talked about the previous eras. What's the next era?
That's a good question. I don't know, man. I feel like there's a lot of stuff building up right now. I'm feeling really like good about where it is. You know, people give me a lot of like love, which is cool. Like sometimes I'll go out and be like, oh yeah, like you're that podcast guy. And I'm like, yeah. And I feel like a lot of that has to do with the fact that like, you know, the thing I didn't want to do, which is film it, is helping people recognize my face. So like, I think that's a good thing, but by no means do I want to be like a celebrity. That would suck. I don't know. That would kind of suck.
Yeah.
But
I
anyway,
agree.
I mean, yeah, like we're not at that point. Like I'm definitely not at that point, but if shit just like kept going, I don't know. I feel like what I'm doing is niche enough that like I would never become a celebrity to the point where it's like you're Skrillex or like you're
Nardwuar.
Yeah, you're like actually fucking famous. So I don't think I have to worry about that.
Dude, you might be the next Fantano. Who knows? Sky's the limit, man.
That's true. But we're doing, you know, it's to be determined which like festivals we're going to do this summer. But I think that that's like a huge play in the sense that when you get to a festival, there's a lot of artists there and you can just like sit down with them, you know, for a short period and like get maybe a little juicy clip in there. And it's like, it's good. You do a lot of work at festivals, just like networking and all that stuff. Shout out Munchie. He's been so helpful in getting me into these venues, like opening doors for me. So like I can't thank you enough. Like I wouldn't be doing a lot of these things without you. So seriously. But in terms of like the podcast in my room, is it hot in here, by the way?
Let's see. It's always a little hot.
That's another thing. It is always a little hot in here. But yeah, I mean, we can deal with it. It's cool.
Oh, dude, I've sweated through interviews in here when I'm in a full suit.
We can open the door. Anyway, we'll figure it out. But yeah, in terms of like doing stuff in the room, the other thing is like I rent this place. This is like basically this is my house. You know, this is a room I dedicate to doing music production and the podcast. And you know, I fear that if I move, it's not going to be like the same aesthetic because like this room has this wood in it and it's just like cool and like I'm not going to find another place that has this same aesthetic. So like I do kind of fear if I move at some point, I'm going to have to like pimp that spot out too. It's going to be a different studio. People obviously move studios, but like this spot will always be like the initial spot, like so that is kind of fear. I'm not planning on moving. But like also doing live streams, I really enjoy that. I have like a song submission thing. So like you can submit a song to the podcast and we're going to listen to them either with a guest that week or through the live stream, which will be with like, it's kind of like a producer roundtable where we give feedback and just bullshit. And that's really fun doing live streams. Like I want to do more of that. But then otherwise just like kind of like do the same thing, like just keep getting people that I want to interview basically. Like that's kind of it. Just keep going, keep having good conversations with people.
Yeah, and something else that I've noticed about you is you're an incredibly sociable person. Like, I'll be out at the bar with you or something, and I won't see you for a half hour, and you'll come back and you'll be like, yeah, I was like talking to this dude for a while. And so I'm wondering, when you're like prospecting and meeting new people, how much of it is just randomly bumping into people at shows, and how much of it is really a thoughtful, oh, I really want to have this person on, let's figure out a way to meet them and get connected?
Yeah, I'm not that like planned out in terms of like, oh, this person's going to be at this location at this time. I got to be there to like catch them.
That's stalker shit.
No, I'm not like I'm not like weird like that. I mean, a lot of it is just done on the internet. Like if I want to get someone on the show, I'll reach out to them, do my due diligence, see if they're in town. I am open to doing like video interviews over the internet, but again, I like doing stuff in person. But like, I mean, a lot of it is just literally the network effect, which is like you meet someone, you have a good time with them, whenever you chill, chop it up, and then they're like, oh, dude, this guy might be interested. And it's just like what is it called? Like the cosign, like the recommendation, like the same thing that I get through like dog walking. The same thing where it's like you get a good recommendation from someone and then you just have a new client. And like a lot of it is just a natural network in that sense. And what you said about being sociable, like, I don't know. I'm a weird cat in the sense like I like being out, but then when I'm over it, I'm like, I'm over it. I gotta like go home.
Totally fair. You're a homebody too, so it's a strange dichotomy of being both very sociable but also really wanting to be at home.
Yeah, for sure. And then also like loud environments too. It's like I'm not great. I mean, like I feel like it's just hard to talk to people in those environments. I'm the kind of guy who like wants to have like a one-on-one conversation. Like I'm not really that interested in being like part of the group combo, or I don't know. It sounds like antisocial, but I guess I just really like one-on-one conversations.
Yeah, hence the podcast. Was this all an excuse to have more one-on-one conversations?
No, I mean, it's literally just like I remember being like, dude, like I like music. Like I want to talk to other people who make music. And that was kind of it. But now it's kind of turned into this like networking tool. And more so than just for myself, it's really like the thing that's weird that separates me from a lot of my friends, not like, but we're still on the same level, we're just doing different stuff, is that I'm like not pursuing my artistry as like a music maker fully, and I'm more trying to like create a community at this point. And I know that other artists though try to make a community, but like I feel like it's like artist and then community after that, whereas mine it's like community first.
Yeah.
So
you could see it too in the fact that 100 episodes, 100 guests, and the amount of times that I know you're with them or you're seeing them, or this turns into that, turns into a show, turns into a hangout. I mean, it's pretty incredible what you've created. So I wanted to take a moment to dwell on episode 100. What does that mean to you?
Well, thank you. Not good at taking praise or giving praise.
Same.
I was telling you this the other day. I'm like not. It's actually weird. Like I'm good at giving people praise where they're like, you know, like another artist would be like, dude, that's fucking sick. You know what I mean? Like it's clearly sick, but like, I don't know. It's coming from a genuine place. It's easy for me to do that when it's a genuine thing. But like even just talking about this, I'm like, whatever. It's just like another episode. Let's just keep fucking going. Like keep swimming, pushing water through the gills like a shark or something. Like I do reflect a lot, but like I don't want to spend too much time there.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. But like episode 100 to me is just like another number. And also whenever I think about it being episode 100, I'm like, it's only episode 100. It feels like it's been so many more in my head. But like, yeah, it hasn't. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it goes back to your kind of, one of the really interesting things about you is your view of life. You have a theory on XP points, experience points for those that aren't gamers.
Yeah.
So I think that really you're just saying 100 don't matter. It's just another couple XP points. We'll just keep adding it. Can you explain the XP points theory?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, yeah, if you are a gamer, you get it. But, like, I don't know. I think, like, being, like, all we really have is just gaining more knowledge and, like, experience. And it's like, there's really never a level of experience that you can get to where you're done. You just keep going. And, like, the idea of being a practitioner, like, having a practice and just trying to get better and better at that. And, like, there's never going to be a point where you're like a master. I mean, you could call yourself a master, like maybe you're the best at it in the world, but even like those people are always like, there's so much more to learn or something, or like you know what I mean?
Yeah, because you couldn't get to being a master if you didn't have that view of it.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing. I don't remember which Greek philosopher, like Plato, Socrates, whatever, one of them was like, you know, I know that I know nothing. And like, that's kind of the humbling thing. And honestly, like, I feel like also the other thing is that all we really have is stories as human beings. And like, this is kind of just an effort to like capture those and preserve them in a way and like take the little nuggets of goodness from them. And that's why it's just like, let's just keep doing more and more, because like every time I talk to someone, I learn something new.
Yeah, one foot in front of the other. I love it.
Yeah. Also, that's just like something like my parents have always told me, because like I'll be like anxious, I'll think about like way too much stuff, and they're like, it always goes back to that like real simple thing where it's like, just put one foot in front of the other. If you think about every single like thing, you're just never gonna do anything.
Totally paralysis by analysis. I've never heard of it. It's never happened in my life.
Yeah, it's never happened to like most of us. No.
All right, let's run a track.
Are we running a track? Okay.
Let's do it. Yeah, so which one do you want to start out with?
Okay, yeah, I'm kind of glad that we like all that stuff. It was too much about me. I don't know. It's weird. I also have said on the show, like, I don't want to be on the spotlight. I just want to like facilitate like whatever. But yeah, something I wanted to talk about on the show was just like some music that I make, because I feel like some people are like, yo, like show me your music, and I'm just like, no man, it's about you. And then we like listen to stuff off the podcast. But I did want to show people some stuff that I have made, and some of this stuff is older, but like, I don't know, there's some fun tracks. The first track is an unreleased track. It's called Galaxy Baby. It's basically like it's got that like West Coast wormy thing, but it's just like a hip hop beat, spacey. I don't know. We should just run it. There's really not that much to say about it. Spacey.
Yeah, definitely.
One of my biggest inspirations is Mr. Carmack. I feel like some of these sounds are kind of Carmack-y slightly.
Does he hit the worm at all?
It's kind of that, more like that wow 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 this kind of thing. But yeah, I like just like swung hip hop beats, and just putting them in a different context. Like, I mean, space is just dope.
Yeah, what other songs do you have that are set in an environment?
I always think of music being like set, like the imagery in my head. Wait, this part's cool. That's that worm. But it's kind of like digital worm. I always think about music being in like a setting, like when am I going to listen to this? I didn't think about that when I was younger, but like, I don't know. I feel like it's just interesting to think about it that way.
Yeah, how do you channel that feeling? Like, as you're doing it, are you really like building a world around you? Like, all right, I'm on a horse. I'm looking at the horizon.
Okay. So that's that. Thank you, because it's like, no. At first, you're just throwing stuff at the wall, but then from there, I start to like have more imagery that comes into mind, and then that might solidify, like, all right, maybe I can go a certain direction from here.
So it's iterative.
Based on that thought, yeah, it's like you make stuff, you just like throw stuff at the wall, try to figure something out, and then I'm like, oh, this is sounding spacey. Like, okay, cool. This is like cruising through space music. How do I like add to that vibe? Or like sometimes it'll also be that it's iterative and I'll play off what's kind of already there, what's been conjured in a way, but then afterwards I can come to a place where I'm like, okay, what is this for? Like, I have another one that we'll listen to where it's like, I'm like, this is like Ice World in a video game. And when I was making it, it wasn't like supposed to be like that, but then when you hear it, you're like, oh yeah, like this is for that.
Nice. So, and then do you bridge that throughout like the way you release it, where you'll be like, okay, cover art, now I'm leaning into the Galaxy theme?
Yeah, for sure.
Nice.
The album art always comes like later. I don't normally go into stuff with like a concept, but I do want to make a concept album. Like, I want to make an album called Music for Dog Walking.
Nice.
And like maybe that'll be like a beat tape, like a cassette tape. And then I have like these microphones that like, it's like, I just got them. They're actually sick. It's like headphones, but they also record through each headphone. It's called a binaural recording. So it like sounds like when you listen to it back on headphones, it sounds like you're listening to it as if you were there. So I think it would be cool to like record me just like out on like a day the birds are chirping and like add that Foley, and then it's just like hip hop beats that are like just cool and music for dog walking, like stuff you'd listen to when you're just like strolling around.
Yeah, it's kind of like a different take on chill beats to study to.
Yeah, it's definitely much in the same vein as that. But yeah, that's all I have to say about that for now. I don't want to like theorize too much.
That's true. Yeah, we got to let it happen, let it iterate, let it steam.
Yeah.
Nice. And speaking of concept albums, favorite concept album?
Oh, I mean, we've already like, this is something we're both gonna know the answer to. Yeah, for sure. Like, favorite concept album is for sure Deltron 3030. It's so dope. I mean, it literally sounds like it's from 3030. Like, not necessarily in like yeah, 3030 music is probably gonna be crazy if we make it that far. But the whole time Del is just talking about like all this really obscure stuff that could be happening in the future, and the beats are like spacey and kind of boom bappy. There's also Damon Albarn is on a couple of those tracks, like must have helped a little bit in the musicality. It's got like this melancholic feel, which I really like. I love the Gorillaz. I was also thinking about this. I really like Bonobo or Bonobo, however you say his name. And it's like Gorillaz, Bonobo. They're both monkeys. Do I like monkey bands? I guess so.
See, are you a fan of the Monkees?
Yeah, the Monkees, aren't they like also, weren't they kind of like the attempt to like be the American Beatles?
I think so. I think it was all a response to that British invasion thing. Let's do our own.
But it was kind of fabricated in that sense. Like, we need the best of the best, the Monkees.
Yeah, maybe they were the original industry plant.
Yeah, that's so true. Maybe.
Damn.
Although it probably goes farther back. But yeah, the Monkees, they got what do they got? I'm trying to think what their song is. But they're good. I like the Monkees. But I was also thinking the Gorillaz and Bonobo, I'm surprised they haven't collaborated. That would be epic.
That'd be like Burt's Bees X Hidden Valley Ranch.
Yeah.
Iconic.
Like, the bees are in the ranch. Not in the ranch, like, actually.
That would be a natural disaster.
That would be disgusting.
And then, so I think any good concept album has to have skits. Would we do skits?
For a concept album?
Yeah.
For like the dog walking?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be kind of cool. I could do like a recording where it's like, hey, what's up? I was thinking of also about like names for the album, and I could name them after like each dog that I walk. But then I was like, that's a little bit too personal. I feel like it'd be cool to get into the overall like aesthetic of dog walking. So it could be like something about pavement. I'm in the city, like it's like a sunny day. I could look up like I don't know, I'm trying to think of like I feel like I try to cloak the names in something cool. Like it's like if it's a sunny day, I'll go into like what's the actual name of like a star, and like get into some like Greek whatever naming or something where it's like you don't really know what I'm talking about, but it's like I'm talking about the sun and it being a sunny day. But skits wise, yeah, it'd be cool to like enter the house and it's like, oh, what's up? Like one of my dogs that I walk, his name's Killer. It's like, what's up, Killer? He's like this little white dog. He's completely harmless. And it's like you could like hear like his chain jingling and stuff. Like, yeah, like that could be a skit.
I like it. Yeah, we're just like, there's a drop in one of the songs, like, what is in your mouth?
Yeah. Like spit that out. Like
drop it.
Yeah. Or like stop doing. A lot of times I'll be telling the dogs like, stop pulling, stop doing this, don't do this. But or just like a good boy, something like that.
There we
Slip
go.
that in there, that'd be cool. I don't know.
Hit it with a little good boy tag. I love it.
That's one of the projects. I also like. I want to do a concept album for sure. There's other ideas. I'm trying to think like what I want to like talk about specifically. I also was thinking about having a side project called Sound Bath, and that's like way more experimental. I was also thinking about just calling it Soak.
Ooh.
Because Soak just sounds cool. Don't steal that, please.
Yeah, right. We gotta believe that.
Yeah, we're gonna have to take that out. No. But that would be cool. And then the idea is just like, I don't know, just weird experimental stuff. I've also always wanted to get a set of crystal bowls and
Singing
sample
bowls.
those. Yeah,
Yeah.
the singing bowls. I always thought that those were cool. But like, where do I put them?
You can find space. If you make it a priority, you'll find room for them.
Yeah, they're not cheap.
No, they're not. And they're fucking breakable, dude.
Yeah, but imagine moving those. It's like, yeah, I got the sound bowls. Fuck.
Dude, imagine the mover is coming to your place on moving day and they're like, what?
You're like, no, these are special. They're crystal. They're quartz.
Yeah, they're like,
Don't break
man.
them. Yeah.
This fucking wook over here.
Yeah. Totally. They'd be like, this fucking guy. But, yeah. I don't know, man. It's weird. I have to like kind of put the music stuff on the back burner. I was also thinking it would be cool to like do music for each episode as like an intro. It's too much work for me. I'm already like fucking peaking on my CPU level. Like I'm just like burnt out. Not burnt out, but like I'm definitely pushing it.
Yeah.
So I don't have time to do that, but I thought it'd be funny to like release like a podcast album, meaning that it's like the music that's in the intro or just throughout the show. And it's just like beats for the show. I don't know if anybody's ever done that. It'd be kind of funny.
Dude, you'd be the first.
Maybe the OST, the original soundtrack of Poducer.
The movie, the game, the original soundtrack.
The anime.
Hell yeah, that's coming next, folks. Get ready.
Yeah.
So something else, you're not just a producer, you're also a part-time DJ. And something we talk about a lot on the show is this kind of producer-DJ spectrum. You have these producers that also DJ, DJs that also produce. Where do you fall in that mix?
Yeah, I started producing before DJing, and yeah, I do it mostly as a job, but I think it would be cool to work almost in the like putting on shows and like for other people. And I'd like to DJ still, but because I don't have necessarily like a solidified sound for my own music, at least at the moment, I'm like, I don't really want to like do too many DJ sets as like my artist name. Not that I wouldn't do that. I do that, but I think it'd be cool to be kind of like on the back end side, like behind the scenes work and like putting on people. That'd be really cool. But I do DJ. I DJ'd like last Friday. A lot of house music, just because it's like, first of all, that's what they wanted.
Gets the people going.
It's Chicago. It's pretty easy to DJ house music, and yeah, it's fun. So I like DJing a lot, and I definitely think it's an art form. I think that it's like also this thing where I don't do it enough, and I don't take it seriously enough to the point where like I want to. Like, I don't have enough bandwidth to do it to my full potential. So I'm like, I'm not going to like sit here and take spots from other people necessarily, if that makes sense. Or I'm not going to pursue it as like, you know, like a main thing that I do. It's kind of a side thing that I do.
Yeah, and I think that's to your credit too. If you wouldn't roll something out unless you felt super confident in it. If it was the podcast, if it was anything else that you're doing. So that's pretty consistent.
Yeah. For sure. I mean, it's fun. It's really fun, like DJing with other people and like going back to back and like, I mean, it's literally just listening to music, but you get to have like a little bit more control over it. So yeah, I do DJ. I like DJing. Shout out all the DJs. There's no like being a producer first or being a DJ first. It doesn't matter, honestly. It's just like whatever you get into first, you know? Yeah. Like I started listening to music on like SoundCloud before I started producing music. So it's like, I was like a selector, like I was listening, you know what I mean? It doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah. But say hypothetically you have a kid. Would you rather they date a DJ or a producer?
Dude, a producer. Well, actually, I don't know. Like, I feel like a DJ, a lot of times the stereotype that goes with it is like, I'm cool. Like I'm a DJ. And like a producer is not necessarily like I'm the shit. Like I feel like there might be a little bit more ego attached to being a DJ because you're performing. But also it depends what kind of producer. Like if you're like actually good or like what do you, yeah, I don't know. Because like there's some producers where it's like, yeah, I don't know, like you're just kind of introverted and kind of weird, and
yeah, the vitamin D levels are off.
Yeah, like you're just not, I don't know. I would want my, whatever we say, my kid, it could be like a girl or a guy. Yeah, too. I just feel like it's a girl dating a guy producer in my head, and I'm just like, yo, like you should probably date a different guy.
Yeah, watch out,
because like there's not that much money unless you're serious, and who knows what the future looks like too.
Yeah, true.
With like AI and...
That's a good point. That's also a Poducer Center Square. AI is a topic.
I try to stay with the times, you know?
That's true. Hey, it is evergreen. Let's see. So something you mentioned is burnt out CPU. So much going on. Do the podcast and music compete for your attention?
Like between the two? No, I'm just like full podcast.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I talk about this sometimes that like I'm atrophying. I'm like withering away, and like my skills, like I gotta open up the DAW and put in my reps. But right now it's just like I just feel like this is the most concrete thing in my life. Like I've kind of put a lot of eggs in this basket, and I'm just like, let's just fucking keep pushing. Like it feels like there's leeway so I can keep pushing. And if I was pushing and I was like coming up against a wall and I was like I can't, what the fuck, then I might, you know, lean into a different direction. But right now it's like, let's just keep pushing this. I don't have enough, I keep saying bandwidth, but like I don't have enough bandwidth to do both seriously.
Yep. Yeah, you got to pick your battles, and this one is the one that's going to bear fruit sooner. So I see it.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that that's the case, but also, I mean, I've said this too, is that like music for me is like a very explorative process. And I don't know, I kind of like how now it's decoupled from like a potential revenue stream, that it's like, it takes like all the seriousness off of it, that I can just do it purely for fun now.
Yeah, it's freeing. I
Yeah,
had the
it's
same
free.
exact reaction. Whenever I'll do a paid gig for anything, I find it stressful. I find it actually kind of miserable, even if it's something that I like doing regularly. And once you decouple it, you can truly make something that's really serving yourself and that you enjoy.
Yeah, totally. What was it for you?
For me, it's been anytime I do video work for someone and they're paying me, or taking photos for someone and they're paying me, a lot of time that's like, dude, I'm freaking out. What if I screw this up? When it's like, if I'm taking a photo for myself, it's like, I don't give a shit. I can screw this thing up.
Yeah. Have you done like wedding photos or something like that?
No,
Or,
nothing that important. I did do a proposal photograph for our buddy Jordan when he got down on one knee, and the whole time I was like shitting my pants.
Just like, dude, I gotta get the shot. Oh my god.
Because you can blow it. Like, you've got one shot. What am I gonna do? Be like, bro, SD card wasn't in the camera. I'm gonna
I
need
fucked it up.
a fake proposal here.
That's actually, yeah. That's why I don't like. I don't know. I've gotten a lot of what's the word? Like, people have wanted me to DJ for them for weddings. Shout out my guys Drew and DJ Pharaoh. I appreciate you guys. I'm still thinking about it, but it does stress me out because it's like such a big day for someone, and like I don't want to be the guy that fucks it up.
And that's why the wedding people always charge twice as much. They got to build in redundancy. They gotta do it.
The SD card thing is almost more stressful in a way because it's like, I mean, some cameras have 2 SD card slots, so you can like have like a redundancy or like a backup. But I mean, dude, if that shit just gets wiped, it's like, ugh. Like, I had an experience on podcast 97. I had like the biggest artist or the most excited I had been in a long time about getting an artist in, and the fucking recording got messed up.
Dude.
And like literally it was the most minute thing that happened. And normally I run a backup, but for some reason it was like this weird test of God where it was like, we're going to fuck up the one that you're most excited about to test you. And I was just like, why?
Why,
This is
God?
so annoying. Yeah. But I mean, at the end of the day, this is like such a first world problem. Oh, you didn't get to record the podcast perfectly? There's children dying in Africa or whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? It's just like, at the end of the day, you kind of got to roll with the punches and just be like, all right, is this salvageable? I did salvage it. It was not perfect. But like, yeah, there's certain things where you just kind of got to be like, I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah, you have to have a healthy level of detachment, I think, in all things. And that's like what the Buddha would talk about. That's like what all the guys that really had it figured out, they'd just be like, yeah, dude, like it all doesn't matter. It's all fleeting. Life is fleeting.
Yeah, like don't worry too much about like, oh yeah, what is it? Like wanting is suffering.
Oh, hell yeah. That's a classic
the
Buddha.
The classic Buddha. Like I wanted that podcast so bad that it was just like, nope, you're not going to get it. And what are you going to do now? Just like, fuck, you know?
That's suffering.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's probably more we could go into there, but
Yeah, totally.
I don't know what it is.
All right, let's run another track.
Let's fucking go. All right. What do you want to listen to? We'll listen to something a little bit different. This one actually would be just kind of funny. This one's called Zorba's Turn
Oh,
Up.
hell yes. I was about to request Zorba's Turn
Yeah.
Up.
This is like a, as some would say, coveted track. I mean, it's out there. I just learned what that word was the other day. I looked it up mid-podcast with CLB. So now I'm just fucking using it. And yeah, it's literally like a bunch of Greek samples that I found on Splice and just like threw them together, added like a fat ass bass, and just, yeah. Zorba's like, I can't even like really say who Zorba is, but it's like, there's this movie called Zorba the Greek, and it's like, it's got this classic iconic Greek song that like, I'm Greek.
By the way.
Yeah, people didn't know. Half Greek actually. But like, anyway, there's this classic song in there, and this was kind of like my ode to that. yeah, this one with those like all those like bass rolls and stuff. I love that shit. That's very Carmack-y again. Like just explosive, like those like that dude. This was like most of this was in the sample pack, and I chopped it up, so it came together in like 2 hours. But another thing that happens a lot with people is like the quick tracks are the best.
Yeah, I believe it, because you don't overthink it, you don't mentally masturbate, which is one of my favorite terms.
I know, yeah.
Crank it out, dude.
You just go.
No pun intended.
You just crank that shit out. Jerk it out.
Dude, so
Yeah,
what was
that's
the
oldie but a goodie.
the mental image when you were creating that one?
I don't know. I just wanted it to be like Greek. I was just like, yo. First of all, I like those like. There's like these like bass kind of rolls that like Mr. Carmack. This is another one where it's like specifically Mr. Carmack, where it's like. And then it just goes into this like explosion bass with the kick, and it just sounds fucking cool. And I was like, I want to just make a really hyphy like trap beat and then use all these samples, and it was just a good track in that it came out nicely. It's like when you bake something or like you cook something, and it's just like that one time that you just made it really good, and you're like, damn, this is fun. Like I made a stew the other day.
Oh.
And I just kept being like, yo, this stew is good as fuck.
And do you think it's something where you could recreate that stew again if you tried, or was just God on your side?
I don't know. It was just like this perfect ratio, like the tensegrity. That's probably not the right word.
Bro,
but
that's
like,
a killer vocab
it's
word.
a good word, I think. Well, because it's like the tensegrity of your body. It's like, this is a tangent, but like your body has tensegrity, which is like, you're tense in certain areas, and basically your body's just like a bunch of like levers and pulleys, and like it's a good way to describe like where you tense. But like it's also talking about this like this ecosystem kind of, and it's almost, or like this balance, this ratio of stuff. And like the stew that I made the other day without knowing, I just followed a recipe, and like I didn't even follow it perfectly, but it just turned out so nicely. Like I cooked it the right amount of time. Like the potatoes were like perfectly cooked, the carrots, everything. And it's like sometimes you just cook something perfectly. And the thing about music, if you cook it perfectly, it lives forever that way. Whereas like a meal, you eat it and you're like, that shit was bomb.
And now it's gone.
And now it's gone, which is also cool. But I mean, I guess you could like, you know, make a recipe and then it's like that way forever, but then it's open to interpretation. Same thing with like sheet music for like Beethoven. It's like, it's that way, but it's different because everyone has to use that formula and they might not follow it perfectly.
Yeah, they take a little spin on it. I'm sometimes questioning what the conductor does when he's got that little stick, because it's like they've got the music.
I actually like don't know. I watched Maestro and I was kind of like, does he need to be there? And like my grandma was like, yeah, like they, you know, he's telling them what to do. And I'm like, but wouldn't they kind of still know? But at the same, I think it does really help in the sense that like it keeps everyone in time. Like you look at the conductor to be like, okay, and now I'm going to play the note, you know? So I think that it's one of those things where it's like the last 5%, but that last 5% matters so much in this pursuit of perfection. Like, yeah,
because that game that you're playing, when you're in the world of orchestra, like Philharmonic and all that stuff, you gotta be, that 5% is pretty damn important because everyone's gonna hear it.
Yeah. I do question, like I feel like most musicians, like they can kind of play without that, but it probably does help to have someone just like leading, you know. Also, it's like probably, I feel like a big thing for musicians, and I'm not like a musician and like I'm in a band and like I'm playing music, but like, you know, they're looking at each other kind of like, and now. And I feel like if you're in an orchestra, you can't really like look at each other the same way. You look at the conductor to tell you He's like the central point, so everyone can see each other, basically.
That makes sense.
That's the way I look at it, and honestly, I'm talking out of my ass here. Like, someone tell me if this is correct.
Bradley Cooper's just listening to this and being like, bro.
Just smoking a cigarette. Like, have you watched Maestro?
Dude, and yeah, I didn't care for it.
I didn't think it was like anything that
Wasn't
great.
that hot? I'm kind of like, he wrote that movie so he could get an Oscar.
So he could smoke cigarettes.
Yeah. He was like, I want to wear a big nose. I want to smoke cigs. I want an Oscar.
But then he like didn't really get anything.
No, because he tried too hard. It's the same exact thing. This kind of like outcome independence thing. He tried pointedly, like, I'm going to sweep at the Oscars. Let me make this Oscar movie. And didn't work out because he did that.
Also, like Leonard Bernstein, like, I mean, he's sick, but it's like so white. Like, I don't know. That's kind of a hard take. We're both whites here. But like in the sense that, you know, just this is one thing I wanted to say before is that like another thing I like about doing this is you get to it's like basically like doing research that like you get enough data points, like enough people say the same thing that you're like, that's probably true. Like 10 people will say all the same thing where it's like, I'm trying to think what like a common thing is like, oh yeah, I just like throw stuff at the wall and then like from there I kind of mold a song. And that's kind of a bad example because there's like no way to do a song. Like everyone does it differently every time, kind of. Or some people. Anyway, like
You've got a point.
There's certain things that come up again and again. And one of the things is basically that like, you know, a lot of the, at least on the rhythm side of things, like comes from like black music, like Africa. And I don't know, I just feel like going back to the Bernstein thing, it's like, it's just to me, it's kind of a random guy. Maybe there's more to him than I don't realize, but like, it's kind of like whitey music.
And I see your argument that no one was clamoring. They were like, yo, when's the Leonard Bernstein
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. It's kind of random. Like there's so many more influential musicians that he just got like the limelight. Also in the movie, if you haven't seen the movie, I'm sorry, we're going to spoil it, but it's basically just about him being gay and like wanting to hook up with guys while his wife is just like, you know, I don't agree with this.
Yeah, and that's the trouble with a lot of movies where the protagonist is unlikable, and it's a really difficult line to walk because people might get 2.5 hours in and be like, I don't even like this guy. Why am I watching his story? Like, why do I want to watch this guy continually cheat on his wife and be just a drunk piece of shit?
Yeah, and it's like the music is cool and composing it is dope, and he's really talented and he made amazing music, but it's just like, I don't know, man. People love those music, not docs, but like, what do they call biopics? Yeah. They love them. Once they like made, I think like Bohemian Rhapsody was like the one that was like, guys, we got to just start making, like, this is easy. Let's just do this. And then they just started making a bunch of them.
Yeah, it opened the door for sure.
There were some before, for sure, obviously. But yeah. In a recent trend, that is. Yeah,
I think there is a modern obsession with like looking at the very recent past and kind of doing a retrospective on it.
Yeah.
I think that it just fits into that. It's like, I look at the BlackBerry movie.
It's about BlackBerry's like the phone.
The phone, yeah, and it's like,
that was too close.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, because also you got like the BlackBerry could come back. Like the Razor came back. Like the phone. I mean, it's different, but like, it's just it was too soon in my eyes.
Far too soon.
I get what you're saying though, where it's, you think that has to do with the fact that we're moving so quickly also?
That's interesting. Cause it's like the Skype thing. It's the exact same thing. It's you go, that sounds like ancient history 5 years ago. Max.
Yeah. You're not using Discord or like Zoom. What the fuck?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I don't know. Or like the LimeWire era or like yeah, I don't know. Like you can make a million different things about that. But I don't know. I feel like documentaries sometimes it's like, what are we doing?
I don't know.
What is this about?
I love a documentary, man, because it gives you the weirdest story imaginable a lot of time that you would never think that you're interested in out of the gate. Have you seen My Octopus Teacher?
Yeah, I like that.
Loved it.
Yeah.
were you sitting around in your house being like, bro, I gotta learn about a man's relationship with an octopus tonight?
I'm not gonna lie though, I already thought that octopi were really cool.
Nice.
I think octopi is a proper plural term of octopus.
I think it is.
I think it might be. But like, yeah, no, I like docs a lot. I thought about doing a doc.
No shit.
Because that would be like, yeah, if I do a doc, would you help me?
Yeah, dude, I have 2 months of film school in me. I can
Let's
fucking
go.
make this happen.
I want to do a doc on like the beat makers scene, specifically like the boom bap, like hip hop stuff that's happening in the city, because it's like happening around the country too, but like doing it not just like podcasts, but an actual documentary where it's like shot in that way, where we're sitting down in the same way. It's probably like the same shots, but it's a lot of different people, and we have to like piece together this like 30-minute to an hour movie. That would be cool.
Yeah.
But that would be a lot of work too.
It's a shitload of work. In my 2 months of film school, we did learn kind of how a documentary is made. And so a lot of it is that people will go in there and they'll have like a theory of what they want to do. They'll just be like, yeah, I'll do it on the beat making scene or something like that. And then they'll pull out a thread and then
yeah,
be
we've
like,
talked about this.
there's something really interesting here. I got to delve into that. So it's like almost you can figure out what you want at the outset, but on the end, you're going to put it together on the cutting room floor and it's going to be something totally different.
Yeah, like you could go out there wanting to do something, but then you end up like finding out about this really interesting other thing, and then it's like, oh shit, we're making a documentary about this now. And then you just piece it together, I guess.
Yeah, 2 good examples. I watched one recently that it was a bunch of guys and they were following around like a firefighter crew. And they were like French news guys. And they're like, yeah, we're going to like do it on New York firefighters. Funnily enough, they decided September 11th, 2001 was the day that they were going to shoot it. And it ended up being that.
What? That's a crazy one. That's like the ultimate.
Yeah, but it's not that. I saw another one that they were starting out, they're doing a documentary, and it was going to be on clowns. Guys that are like party clowns. And they meet this one party clown.
Does it get dark?
It gets fucked up, but not in the way that you're expecting. They're like talking to this party clown, and he's like, yeah, you know, my dad went to jail. And then they like got into that and made an incredible documentary, Capturing the Freedmans. If anyone has seen it, it's free on HBO. Incredible to watch. Yeah.
Word. So it gets into like the dad story. Yeah, that is interesting that you're just kind of like, you know, following whatever is the most interesting. And that's what I do when we're talking about, like right now we're talking about documentaries. You know what I mean? Like you just go on the tangent because there's something interesting there.
Amen.
Tangentville over here. I'm a huge proponent of the tangents. I feel like some people might not like it, but I'm into it.
That's also a Poducer podcast, Center Square.
The tangent zone.
The tangent zone.
The tangential zone. That could be interesting.
All right. So another thing, I've come up with a new segment for the podcast. It's called Pod Do or Pod Don't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're picking up what I'm laying down here about how it works. So the idea is a pod do is something that you should be doing. A pod don't, you don't fuck with it.
Okay. What would be like an example?
No, I've got a couple here in the system.
In the system? In my phone notes app?
Yeah, I like to call it the system.
Yeah.
Asking the DJ to play a song.
Yeah, see, I've been guilty of this. I went to go see RL Grime, and I literally like pulled up the core album art, and I was just holding it for like 5 minutes. Just like when he would look, I'd be like, yo, play this. And like I knew he was gonna play it. And also there's a level to it in the sense like if you're trying to get RL Grime to play your track, he's probably just gonna be like, fuck off. And that's fine. You gotta accept that L. He did play it though, but that was probably already gonna happen. I question if he played it earlier in his set than he was gonna,
just to get you to stop holding up
because I was being annoying. Yeah, and that I look back on that and slightly cringe, but also I think it's funny. If you're going to like the local DJ who's just spinning and it's like his job, I don't know. In some ways, I feel like that's even more of a no-go because it's like just let the man cook, let him do his thing. He's probably not going to have the song that you want, because that's another thing that people don't realize is like generally you can only play a select amount of songs that you already have unless you have some kind of system that like allows you to play other stuff. There was this one DJ program that I had where you could like drag in songs from Spotify and then DJ them, and that was really cool. It was called DJ Pro or something, but then they took that functionality away. I actually have an old version of it, which it somehow still works. I would never use that on a gig because you'd be like relying on Wi-Fi, unless you had like a hotspot. Anyway, I feel like if a DJ has a tip jar,
yeah, open season.
That's open. Yeah, if you pull out money, there's a better chance you're gonna get the song. But again, the DJ just might not have the song. Yeah, I don't know. Like requesting songs is you gotta do it with grace.
Yeah, right. Just be like, please, bro, will you play Kesha?
Yeah, I
kind of need this.
It. Yeah, I'm with this chick. She loves Kesha, or just like secretly he loves Kesha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that there's an etiquette to it. But I'm not saying you can't do it. You might want to get in there and try to. It also depends how like in it he is. Like if he's really doing a lot, then don't bother him. Fair.
Good note there for the audience. Another one: taking babies to concerts. Pod do or pod don't?
I'm gonna say that's a pod don't.
I agree.
I don't understand that because like they have. I learned the other day that babies like basically see in like crazy color. Like basically it's like the colors you see when you're tripping because there's just like so much information coming in. I forget why exactly, but I'm assuming it's the same thing with your ears, that they're even more sensitive. They haven't been like dulled down by years and years of listening to loud noises. So I don't understand why you do that. Also, I would further that to like, don't bring your service dog to the concert either. That seems even more cruel to me, unless maybe you give them like headphones or something. I don't know. I mean, maybe you really need the service dog and like you're blind or something. But if you're just like, I have anxiety and I need my service dog, like how bad is your anxiety?
Yeah, you got to get that dog some Quake earplugs.
Yeah, dude, you got to get some Quake dog muffs.
Wait, write that down, dude.
Dog muffs?
Yeah, write that down.
Well, we got it on recording, so I'll be listening back to this. It's going to be fucking weird as hell to edit this podcast. I'm gonna be like looking for clips in my own. Yeah, that's going to suck.
You're going to be like, hell yeah.
I hate already listening to my own voice.
Get ready, dude. You got a nice hour and a half of this coming up. It's going to be
so much of that. But yeah, I would say like a baby, like what's the point? They're not going to remember it. They might even be like traumatized by that in some way, and you don't even know. Yeah, maybe it's a good vibe though. It's like a Fish concert. If it's an unamplified concert, meaning that there's like no PA system, maybe.
All right, so like a MTV Unplugged.
That's yeah, like if it's like an acoustic set, all right, yeah, that's cool. No, I think that's legit. But if it's like loud, if it's a loud concert, don't bring your baby.
Right.
Or if you have to bring your baby, get them like really good headphones that, you know, like basically the ones you'd bring to like a gun range.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'd say.
Get them some dub muffs for sure.
Get them some dub muffs, dude.
Get your baby-sized dub muffs.
Yeah. Yo, Snake Blood is the guy who runs the Quake sponsorships and helps with Quake. He does Quake with his partner. We got to talk to him about baby-sized plugs.
Definitely.
Just like tiny ones.
Yeah, put them in the shrink ray. It's easy, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Easy. All right, another one. Pod do or pod don't. Wearing the same outfit to every interview like Nardwuar.
See, I think about this. I specifically wore my Trader Joe's sweatshirt because, like, this is probably my most iconic sweatshirt. People at Trader Joe's have asked me, like, oh, do you work, which location do you work at? And if I was smart, I'd be like, oh, the one over on, like, Halstead, or I don't even know if there's one on Halstead. Just throw out like a random Chicago street name. But like if I used that, they would give me a discount. So like if I was smart, I would utilize that. Anyway, I got this from a thrift store and like I just like wear it all the time.
Dude, Trader Joe's, is that the best grocery brand?
No, I used to be like very loyal to Trader Joe's, but they don't have deals. Everything is just the price that it is, and generally the prices are pretty like modest and fair. But I've kind of gotten onto that, like, I mean, I'm definitely on the Costco. I almost wore my Costco sweatshirt because that's like the newer era. This is like an older era of me.
Oh, I see.
I think Kirkland might have like stolen my heart.
Damn.
And there's some deals at Costco, but generally just buying in bulk is you get some cheap stuff. Basically what I've learned is you just have to go to a bunch of different grocery stores if you want to get good deals.
Totally. You need to create competition amongst the grocery stores, or else they're just going to rip you off.
Sometimes you go to one and the same product is like $2 less, and you're just like, why? So I feel like if you want to get good produce and meats, depending on, like, I would say get some like organic shit, but anyway, I'm not gonna go into that.
Yeah,
but, like,
I'm sure this is riveting for the podcast, guys.
This is riveting stuff here, guys. But anyway, I like Jewel is a good place because you can get like, it's like 5 mangoes for $1, and you're like, what? And it just happens to be that day. So like I'll go there and get like fruits and vegetables, and then, you know, like Costco for like, I don't know, like the bulks, like eggs and just things that I'm always gonna have on. And then Trader Joe's is for like the fun, like mochi ice cream or some shit like that. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, I feel like most people, that it's a universal thing. You got to go to the store and shop, so it could be interesting to some.
Yeah, maybe someone's learned something. They're like, shit, I gotta get some mochi ice cream tonight.
Yeah, dude. But what was the original Pod Do or Don't? It was wearing the same clothes.
Oh yeah, like Dark War.
I think about it. I'm definitely not on that, like, if you guys know Lex Friedman, like, he always wears a suit, just like a black suit. I'm not there. I did think about what I was going to wear for this episode, but I also think about what I'm going to wear for each episode. I try to wear something different, but sometimes I forget what I've worn. But I try to, like, you know, come in fresh and be like, this guy doesn't just wear the same clothes every day.
Makes sense.
But also on that, like, if you just wear a black t-shirt and black pants, like, you're good to go for basically any show.
Oh, you cannot lose.
Yeah, it's just a good rule of thumb.
Yeah.
Just blacked out.
Yeah, I had a phase where I said I'm going to wear the same thing every day. And I went to H&M and I bought 5 black t-shirts and 5 black pairs of pants.
Really?
And I did it. Yeah, I did it for a period of probably 2 months.
It's like some Mark Zuckerberg
Who do you think I was imitating?
Yeah.
Such a fucking dork when I was 22.
Were you actually?
Yeah.
You ever thought about that?
Yeah, I was like, yeah, dude, I'm going to be like Zuckerberg. This is going to be sick.
It's going to make my life easier.
I looked like a fucking cartoon character. Yeah.
Yeah. So it didn't last that long?
No, it was 2 months. Then I saw the error in my ways. And H&M clothing really only lasts about 2 months.
Yeah, it's like you wash it 3 times and it's like falling apart.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, okay, this is rags now. Fuck it.
Yeah.
All right, another question for you. Fuck, marry, kill. Poi, gloving, and hula hoops.
This is a good question. And there's some other flow arts out there.
Oh, we can add them in after.
I found out about this one where it's like a wand. And if you're in the flow arts, you already know what I'm talking about. But it's like literally like a stick attached to a string and you like spin it. Fuck, marry, kill, poi, hooping, and what was the last one?
Gloving.
Okay, yeah. I thought that gloving was really cool for a little bit. I like thought about like maybe getting some gloves back in the day. I'd probably fuck gloving. Also, are we talking about like the person that's gloving?
Let's
No,
see.
just the concept.
I think it's really just the object.
Okay, yeah. Gloving, yeah. Wait, fuck gloving. No, I'm gonna say marry gloving, fuck hooping, and then kill poi. Fuck, that's.
Are we not rocking with poi?
No, I actually do think poi is kind of cool. It might be one of the cooler ones, but for some reason, like, I don't know. This is not gonna come off well. I have a girlfriend, but like, there's some hooping baddies. That's like where my mind was at. My like mind was in the gutter thinking about that. But anyway, yeah, I'm just a human.
Yeah, right? We all have needs.
Yeah. That's what I would think.
Yeah, totally fair. Yeah, I like that. You can actually use that question on another guest. I'll allow you to
Yeah, I'll take that.
take that one.
I'll take that.
Run another track?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
I was talking about one that was like the ice world before, and I think that this is like nothing I've released and something I actually never thought that I would release, but I kind of like have been listening to it lately, and I don't know, I just like it. It's just really easy listening, so we'll run that one. But you know what, does this feel like an ice level? Like you're in like Mario 64 and it's like the ice world and you're just kind of like walking around. This is quietly in the background.
Yeah, it's definitely got a penguin sort of energy to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels like crystalline in a way. That's also another thing I like love is my first love was video games. And like I think somehow the music from video games like seeped into my existence, and somehow like I don't know, I feel like I end up making stuff that almost sounds like it could be in a video game.
I agree. There's a sort of like, I don't think it's 8-bit, but I think that there's like a joyfulness and a playfulness that 8-bit music shares and your music also.
Yeah, for sure. Like, yeah. And I think also it came down to like what they had to use when making some of these video games, like especially like Game Boy games. They only had, I think, like 4 tracks, because like, dude, the fucking Game Boy game only had so much memory on it. It's like a kind of amazing if you look at how much the data is. It's like, I actually don't know exactly how many megabytes it is, but it's like nothing.
Yeah, but it's like a megabytes calculation too. Yeah, it's like small.
It's like 200 megabytes or something, and somehow there's an entire like Pokemon is on that somehow.
Shocking.
But yeah, I mean, they only had like, I think like 3 or 4 voices that they were able to use, meaning like 3 or 4 tracks. So like part of it lends itself to like that, and also they could only make a certain amount of sounds off the sound card of the actual like cartridge. So like it was basic waveforms. And I think that like I do use a lot of like basic waveforms and then like modulate them and add effects. So maybe that's kind of why it sounds slightly video gamey.
And that's not uncommon, because if you think about what your first influences to music, I mean, a lot of people will say like, yeah, it's what my parents played on the radio. And I think that for you, video games were kind of in the same way, where it's like you've spent a mass amount of hours with it at a young age.
I was like the guy, and like Ryan, we've known each other for a long time. I was literally like the guy where we'd like go to my basement and just like play video games, and like I'd always have like a new game. And yeah, that was like that was probably the first thing that I got like praise out of, where it was like I was good at, and I actually felt a little bit of like pride in that. I remember a really old memory of mine. They used to have these demo discs that they'd give out at like Pizza Hut or like somewhere. Like they would give out these demo discs, because then it would have like old PS1 games like Croc and like what is it called? Oh fuck, what am I? Crash Bandicoot and like other games, and it had this one game, and it's like you're like a plane, and there's like a bunch of it's kind of like a bullet hell game, if you're familiar with that, where it's like there's a shitload of bullets coming at you, and you're just like dodging them and also destroying whatever's shooting at you. And I remember my dad and brother set up the PS1 on this little TV that we had, and they were playing in the kitchen, and for some reason I came in. This is like an old ass memory.
Core memory.
Literally, this is a core memory. And I came in, and I was like playing, they were watching me play, and I like got farther than they had gotten. They were like cheering me on. And I think that is so like, that was such a core memory in the sense that like that solidified like, oh, I could be good at this. And maybe I didn't even like play video games that much. Like right after that, I'd watch my brother play because he was older than me and like better at them. But I just remember that like so well. And I think that like playing video games was like the prototype or like the thing that led me to making music, because making music, it's more open-ended, but it's kind of similar in certain ways. It's way more open-ended, but like it's just like another thing to be good at and to, I don't know, like I'm trying to think about it because I haven't really thought about this that much, but it feels like at least the next thing that was in the lineage for me that I wanted to be good at.
And that does make sense for me because I can think about like my life and the early things that were impactful. And when you're a little kid, it's like you do something once and you get a little bit of praise for it. You're like, oh, this is me now.
Yeah.
This is my personality. So I could see that happening, and I can think of things in my life where I've done that 100%. But then also you get onto a new thing, and it's like that same era sort of thing. It's like era, I was a gamer. Okay, era, now I'm a musician.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking about this today because I was telling you this before we got on the show. I was like, oh, like I was thinking about like how I want to come off or whatever, like on the podcast. And just like thinking about like what other guests might feel like before they come on the podcast, like, oh, like what do I want to talk about today and whatever. And one of the things I was thinking about is that I used to like, I just remember also this other memory that I have where I would tell my mom, I was like, I don't know what I'm like I want to be the best at something. And I remember I was young, and this was maybe like high school or something, and I was also trying to figure out like where I wanted to go to college. I was very lost at this time, and I was like, yeah, I just want to be the best at like something. And I don't know. Feel like if you find a niche enough thing, like you can be the best at something. But I've always had a competitiveness in me for whatever reason that I want to do something at a high level. And I mean, that also like, I feel like is a double-edged sword.
Oh yeah.
Too. Because like for a long time when I was doing music, like that would be the thing that would hold me back. And I would just be so self-critical. Like, this is not at the level that I wanted to be at. And I would compare myself to others. Pretty normal things that a lot of people probably think about. But like, I think that doing this podcast is like the weird niche thing where it's like, maybe just not that many other people are doing it, but I want to like push and be like the premier podcast for music producers. So yeah, I don't know. It's just like, I don't know. I just want to operate at a high level, you know?
Yeah. And I think that's the healthiest way to look at it. It's like, if you can put yourself in a box where you're not comparing yourself to others, you're going to be the happiest. And it sounds like the podcast allows you to do that, really focus on just that one foot in front of the other, brick by brick, where you're not being like, oh yeah, that podcast down the street, he's fucking crushing my numbers, dude. Yeah,
and
it's like,
that's the weird thing too. It's like, I don't feel competition with other podcasts either, because I feel like there's not that many people in the space, or maybe there are a good amount. I've found a lot of other podcasts that are for music producers, but it's just, I don't know. It's like, I just like the way that like I'm doing it, and it's like very not much another expression of like myself. And yeah, I don't know. I think that like just music is so competitive. It's like I used to play a lot of like first person shooters and be really good at that. And that was fun. But I mean, music is just like a whole nother world in terms of you have like people who are literally like savants, or like you have people who come from musical families where it's like they just have so much more music in their lineage, and things that like that other people wouldn't have access to necessarily. So it's like, I don't know, I just feel like happy that I've kind of removed myself from that game, if we're gonna think about it as a game, because that shit, like my competitive brain was holding me back. And yeah, I don't know, I think that I'm getting too deep on this, but it's just like, I think that just doing the podcast for me is like, it's pretty low key. It's just fun, and I hope it helps other people like learn stuff. And it's just like not competitive, I guess. It's like playing like a more casual game versus
single
like
player.
Yeah,
single
like
player,
you're just it's like a casual gamer versus like hardcore gamer. Maybe in my head I'm still like hardcore gaming on this because I'm doing all this stuff, but like what the product is, what the listener hears, or the person that's watching it, it's like just an experience for them. So
yeah, and I could see how a first-person shooter would be inherently antagonistic. I'm trying to kill you, man.
Yeah.
It's me versus you, I get points. I'm surprised that music is like that.
And it doesn't have to be like that. I think it was just like that in my head. I think that there's definitely some things that were, it was like my own holdups.
Interesting, yeah.
Yeah. But now it just feels way more like communal, which is way healthier. And also because I've gotten away from that whole like competitive, like, I've always liked video games where you're playing against another person. Like, I don't really get that much joy out of playing a game where actually I like playing games that are hard, where it's like PvE in the sense player versus enemy, like as in player versus like computer. But like, I would never be the type of person that would play like Super Smash Bros against a computer. Like, that's not fun to me because there's not enough like randomness in that. Like, it's weirdly sadistic. Like, if I think about it, it feels sadistic in the sense that like I'm trying to beat another person. Like, I like the competition against another actual person. And actually, I don't think that has to be sadistic.
I think that's completely normal.
I think it's normal. I just think that there's a way more like gratifying thing because it feels more real.
Yeah, definitely.
Like computers, for the most part, it's like somewhat predictive.
Yeah, imagine if you were like saying like, dude, I don't want to play ping pong with you. I'm just going to fold up the table and play against myself.
Yeah, or like play against like a machine arm that just like kind of hits it back, like it knows how to keep hitting it back to you. Yeah, another one of my theories, which I like when I started this, one of my, shout out Ferris Bula, go check out Bula Radio. He was actually the guy who got me back into doing podcasting. And also, this was another thing I wanted to say, which was the podcast was always the thing that people asked me about. They'd be like, oh, like, dude, are you still doing the podcast? I'd be like, no, like, I'm not doing it right now. I took a break. There was a period of time where I took a break. And that was always the thing that people asked about. So after a while, I was like, maybe I should start doing that again. Like, that was the thing that people actually, like, resonated with. So, yeah, there's that aspect, which kind of got me back into it. But, like, I don't know. I kind of lost my train of thought. There was something else I wanted to say there.
There was something.
Yeah. But like, yeah, I don't know. There was a grand point I was trying to make.
We had a nugget. We'll find the nugget, dude. It always comes back. Yeah.
It'll come back.
So I think that we've said it all, and I want to...
We've said it all.
That's a classic Howard Stern. He goes, well, folks, we've said it all.
I always say we've gone far and wide, or like we've we've covered a lot of ground. That's what I say.
That's a good one. Or we could talk all day, man.
Yeah. That's another one.
So many good ones. Shout out all the radio guys. They really got it down. So my last question is to take on your last question, your wrap up question, where you ask people, what's your favorite concert? But what I'm going to ask you is, what's your favorite podcast? And I'm going to give you an out.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you an out. I'm going to say it could be an experience that you've had based upon having the podcast. Not asking you to choose favorites here, wherever you want to take it.
I think it would be cool to stay in the line of like my favorite podcast episode like ever. I don't know. I feel like one of my favorites going back to like Joe, like whenever he has like Alex Jones on, it's just like crazy shit, and that's so fun to listen to. I remember just like sometimes I'll like listen to some of those podcasts and like want to do like psychedelics, and I'm like, yeah, dude, like that's crazy. Like I want to just like smoke some weed and like listen to this. Also just like in more recent, I just listened to, dude, it was like a 4.5 hour podcast where he had on Graham Hancock, who's like the dude who, you know, he wants to believe that there's a lost civilization, and they were talking with another archaeologist who was like, I just don't buy that. And I think I have proof that we really don't. We can't say that that's even a thing. Like there's no proof of it. So like theorizing about it is almost like saying that there's aliens.
So it was two archaeologists going at it?
Yeah, and that was really interesting. And the fact that I talked to my brother and I'm just like, yo, you should listen to this podcast like with like Paul Stamets. He's like the mushroom god. Like he knows everything about mushrooms. And he's like, yo, just like listen to it and summarize it for me. And I'm just like, dude, like I can't extract all of the points that they make in like a 2.5, 3 hour conversation. So yeah, I don't know. I like those. I like the deep dive. I would say probably, yeah, some of my favorites are from Joe, just because the guests are like it's not Joe, it's the guests that are just like, they're like experts in certain things. I'm trying to think if there's like another podcast that I listen to that I really have gotten a lot from. I listen to like a lot of comedian podcasts because they're just like the funniest, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it's like listening to the funniest guy on earth.
Like they're just riffing. Yeah, like they'll just say some shit that's just so funny, and you're just like, this is good for me to listen.
I'm happy.
Yeah, I think laughter is just like super important, and no means do I like possess those same skills, but I think riffing and going on tangents and just like fucking around makes for interesting conversation. And it's kind of like the whole what is it called in theater, where it's like improvising when you're saying yes. Like yes and yeah, exactly. So like someone says something and you're like yeah and blah 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 blah. So I think that like not shutting things down and going with whatever someone says, like, you know, when I make notes for a podcast, I'll normally like go on people's social media, look up things that are interesting, have stuff that I want to talk about for sure, but the other like 50% of it is riffing off what people are talking about and going into like different things. I think that that's like what makes for a good conversational podcast, at least.
Yeah, you got to hit it with the yes and. Theo Vaughn, incredible at it. He'll go,
love Theo.
Yeah, man, I used to know a guy named Terry.
Yeah, he always talks about a guy he knew. Yeah, he's always talking about a guy he knew. Listen to a Theo Vaughn podcast. He's also doing a lot of good work in the sense that he's trying to get like good information out to like the normal folk.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of good comedians that I really just love their podcasts. Also, they unapologetically say just things that they think and believe, and you know, there might be like some recourse for that, but like I respect that.
Yeah,
because
right.
you're talking to someone who's not just like a Hollywood, like there's so many podcasts where it's just like this Hollywood actor like Stanley Tucci has a fucking podcast or what. That's actually a bad example because like
I would listen to the Stanley Tucci.
I think Stanley Tucci is cool. I'm not trying to throw shade, but like there's this effect, at least right now, where it's like everybody and their grandma has a podcast, and part of it is that you already have a platform. So it's easy to just get in there and just talk to people because you have connections to good guests. And that's also another thing I think about too, like my own, if I were to say insecurity, it's like, who am I to be like the premier podcast guy? But it's like, that's why I feel like even more so doubling down on it and not trying to also do music. Like I'll see people do stuff where they'll have this other thing and then they'll just like really unapologetically plug their own stuff, their own music. Like it's almost like a siphon into like the thing that they really want to do. And it's just like, I don't like that.
That's a classic thing where people will be like, yeah, you know what? I really want to be a singer, so I'll become like an actress and then I can do my singing career. Or I really want to become IG famous, so I'll become a rapper.
Yeah. And that's not the goal. Like,
no way.
I really want to keep, like, I have never even talked about my own personal page or linked anyone to my personal page. There was a period of time where I would have it as like, this is the guest profile, this is the host profile, and it would link to like my page. I don't even do that anymore because it's like I don't want you to find my music through the podcast. I don't want them to be linked in any way, unless I was doing, like I was saying before, like a podcast album or whatever. Like,
yeah, that's the time.
Okay. But even that would be kind of funny to just release as Poducer, like the artist. That would be like even stupider in a funny way, dude, in my mind.
You wear a helmet that's just the logo.
Yeah, it's just the logo, dude. Oh man, yeah. So that would be funny, but yeah. I would say that I just think that like the long form conversation, some people aren't into it, but like I think that after listening to someone for like an hour and a half, you actually get to know a little bit about how they are. You know what I mean? Like it's easy. You go onto like a talk show, like whatever, any of the talk shows, and it's just like these very guided questions, and it's hard to really like get the personality. But I feel like, you know, this is like so raw, and I just think that this is a cool medium for that. And it's also another thing I'll say about podcasts. It's like, it's really just more so, what would be a better word? It would be like just like a show or like a conversation, because podcast like actually comes from like the
Greek
the podcasto. No, but it's like, you know, like podcast is like Kleenex. It's like the Apple version of like recorded conversation. And it used to be like you'd have your iPod and you could literally download a podcast from iTunes and then, you know, download it onto your iPod and listen to it later. It's like a radio show on the go. And now we have like more sophisticated technology. You can hook up to the internet anywhere, basically, and it's still called podcasting. So it's just kind of funny to me that it has stuck to that, but it's really almost closer to radio at this point.
Yeah, it's evolved certainly past being a very specific product. And I love the podcast factoid, as Going Somewhere said. Damn, I never knew what a podcast was. That's like learning what AM and PM are at the age of 25.
Yeah. Fun fact, best clip that we've ever made. It was boosted, so like the numbers are inflated, but in terms of people who actually engage with it, they just love that. Like the art of making a clip. I've been telling people lately, I'm like, yo, like, I don't know, my muscles are weak in the production game. And also I'll say, like, I went to school for music production, so like I know what I'm doing, but like you're good at something because you do it so much, you know? And I haven't produced in a while, but like if you need a fucking clip made,
holler at me,
bro. Like I got you in like 20 minutes. Like it's easy. So yeah, but shout out Going Somewhere. He's been really helpful, and we have some things in the work. But yeah, that's what I also kind of want to say, like, my favorite concert.
Yeah, let's do it.
If I can.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's ever heard this one, so this will be fun.
I have two, but I'll kind of give like I have said my favorite concert, and that was Deadmau5 Lollapalooza, like 2011, I think it was. And it was just really cool. He just came out with 4 times 4 equals 12. And the show started, and it started raining, like pouring raining. And, you know, a lot of times when it starts raining, like, they end up canceling the show because there's like thunder and lightning. And they didn't do that. And like the first song he played was Some Chords, and it was just so epic. And I remember I was like with a girl at the time. I was like, cool. This was a period of, Ryan, you would know this. This was a period of time where like my friends called me Jay because I was like on a little bit of like a spree. Embarrassing when I say it out loud, but like, I don't know. I was just like in my element, and it was just like a great time in my life. So like that was probably my favorite concert. But also, this is going to be like controversial, but like I used to go to a lot of Bass Nectar shows, and I saw him in Nashville do a 360 show at whatever, like the Predators Arena, and that shit was really cool. And it wasn't necessarily because of like Bass Nectar. Like I like his music, but it was about the community and the people that I went there with. I went there with my brother, my friend Justin. Shout out Justin. Shout out Forbes. I think Mike was there. Mahaffey. Sorry, Mike, I'm using your government name.
Yeah, dude. He's like, don't out
like,
me.
Don't say my name, bro. And yeah, it was just like really special in the sense that like we would go to a lot of shows together. And like that's kind of what solidified even more so. Like I would listen to music, you know, and going to these shows with like these guys just like made it more of my identity, and like probably was part of the reason why I started like getting more into music. So I just wanted to say that one.
Hell yeah. Well, to take Howard's turn, we could talk all day.
We could talk all day.
We could talk all day. Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed this, getting a peek behind the mask at the man.
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah, so happy 100 episodes, Jerry. Killed it.
Thanks, bro.
On to 101.
Thank you for hosting this. I do appreciate it.
Dude, happy to. It was fun.
Normally we do shout outs. I just want to say, shout out my mom for listening. She always listens to the newest episode, so I appreciate you. I love you. Shout out all my Chicago homies, Kai, Kiefer, Jay Willie, DJ Farrow, Kale, Palpa, Jake, Ellipsis, Care. Fuck, there's a lot. All my like beat homies, Going Somewhere, Before Lasers, Cozy, Cold G, just all those dudes. I'm forgetting people and I'm sorry, but like, yeah, thank you guys for helping me. Shout out Munchie for helping me. Shout out Ronin Productions, and yeah, I mean, shout out anyone who really like, this is the part I always talk about. Shout out the fucking universe. Yeah, I just really appreciate anyone who's been listening. We're gonna keep going, and yeah, thank you.
Shout out. Thank you.
Shout out. All right, guys. Well, thank you for listening. If you've made it this far, this is where I take over the hosting.
Get in the chair, bro.
Yeah, move. No. Thank you for listening. If you made it this far, we appreciate you, and we'll catch you next time. Peace.
Deuces.
Hell yeah. Oh my